Hello, myself Sunil R Nair. Here, basically, we are discussing about one topic, that is currencies. In this, that is, we are discussing one idea basically. In white idea, basically, this idea basically got to one of the project manager in Mumbai basically. He was actually getting question from one of the developer basically that I am getting this problem, I am getting that problem basically. So project manager basically, no sorry, he basically was asking few questions basically. So project manager basically was not able to give the answer. Then he told that that video actually was seen by the company owner basically. The company owner called that project manager in his cabin and then literally basically fired him. Basically, why you are not giving the answer of that particular guy? He was literally fired in front of the few, uh, that also in front of the peon basically, and few staff basically was sitting in front of him basically. So he was basically insulted too much basically. He was insulted too much basically. He was insulted too much basically. Means suddenly basically he taken the decision basically he will kill that particular developer basically, and he told that basically that developer basically was Malayali basically. I am talking about 2003 2004 basically. So he told that basically I will kill that particular person basically. So for that basically the person basically done the marriage. The person basically who was the taking care of the each and every employees basically, each and every employees are basically taken care by the few people, na, basically that remember always. So that person basically planned HIV/AIDS marriage, and after HIV/AIDS marriage basically the girl basically told that we have checked the blood cells basically he got the HIV/AIDS. Now basically what is the next plan basically? Then he told that basically next plan basically is generation has to end basically. Then basically that boy basically told they have done the each and every verification was ongoing. Yeah, basically just see that girl family was also doing verification. That girl basically was telling that basically I know these people, I know that people. Like this basically kahani was happening. Yeah, basically each and every story was getting created. So the story was getting created like this. Each and every story basically was getting created. That basically this boy is that, this, that, each and every story basically was getting created. And in this basically like this after lots of story basically was created, and then basically then his generation basically ended by one of the doctor basically who was basically the friend of that particular girl basically. That girl actually got the money basically, lots of money basically they got basically by ending his HIV/AIDS, by doing the HIV/AIDS, and then basically his family generation ended with by lots of money basically they got. That is brown color. Lots of money basically they got basically. Like this basically they got lots of money basically. They got lots of money basically from the that project manager basically. That project manager was a very rich person basically, which how basically he was because he was basically connected with Six Sigma also basically that time basically. That time basically they were doing the planning of Six Sigma. That's he basically. Six Sigma launch when basically I think in 2005 6 basically they launched Six Sigma. Not 2006 also basically too much basically 2007 8 basically. But Six Sigma basically they have he was the one of the manager of Six Sigma system basically, which currently basically after CMM level 5 the Six Sigma system is going to come. That basically they are doing the plan. So Mumbai basically is telling that basically we are one step ahead basically from each state basically. Like this basically that manager basically was having the power also basically. So he used his power, and that boy basically was his generation also basically in front of government basically this everything happened basically. Government has done nothing basically. They basically told that yeah they also basically started his childhood basically. They also seen basically his childhood basically. This child also given us lots of trouble basically. Yeah. Let him die only basically. Like this basically, that child basically got नसबंदी also. Then basically, then they thought that basically यार ये अगर if he will alive ना basically, if अगर ये जिंदा रहता है, if he will still basically he will stay in the earth planet and in the Mumbai basically, it might possible that he will take badla. He might take badla. So what they have done plan basically, do you know? They basically planned his visa basically. And in visa also they have done the verification. Lots of verification they done basically. They issued the visa by these people, that people basically, those people. Like this they have done the verification also basically. Like they given the visa basically of the Dubai basically. And in Dubai basically that child that boy basically was killed basically. This is actually not my story basically. This is one Malayali story basically. He was died basically. I am still alive basically. That this is actually not my story basically. Like this basically, that boy basically, or that boy actually, it was not boy basically. That man basically was died. And do you know basically who issued the visa basically? The issue visa basically was Amin Group basically. One was a consultant basically of Amin basically. Amin, his caste was basically there. He actually issued the visa basically. Now in this basically the Amin caste was involved, or basically that thing only that particular person basically was involved, or basically the his name was put on as an Amin basically. That also need to verify basically, because it might possible that to create problem in the Amin caste basically, somebody might have done this type of thing basically. That also is possible. So like this basically he got the visa. That boy basically was killed basically, and the government closed the chapter basically. How basically, do you know? That person basically was died, and he was basically killed in the he was basically thrown in the sea basically, sea water basically. In Hindi basically it is called samundar. Like this basically died. That poor basically child, boy basically, man basically died. But he has just done one mistake basically. That was he asked the question basically to the project manager. That was the just mistake basically he has done. Nothing else basically mistake he has done basically. Due to that question basically asked to the project manager, that project manager killed that boy, yeah, basically. And they basically done the verification also. After that they have done the jashan also basically. In the ground basically, that we have killed that particular boy. That type of manager he was basically. Just see basically. And now basically half of the IT people are at home basically. And one of the person basically heard this story na basically. He basically listened this story and he told that basically entire IT industry should be blast in the bomb blast basically. Entire software company is supposed to be blast in the bomb blast basically. That basically one of the person basically told this story after listening this story basically. After listening this story basically, some one of the person basically given this comment basically. The entire software industry basically must be blast from the bomb blast. So this is also one of the idea basically, which changed that particular boy child basically life only basically. And that particular boy basically died, and their slowly their family basically also was ended basically. That also basically I heard basically, that his family was also ended. So entire proof basically finished basically. In that basically the local government also supported that project manager, but he was reason based, he was the Six Sigma future of the software industry basically. He was designing that basically. He was designing actually that basically. He was designing the future of software industry basically. So how the future of software industry basically is designed, that also we are going to see. And next idea basically, that also we are going to see. What actually the next idea is, that also we are going to see. And how basically this track basically is